Damn, dog.
Well, we about to talk about it.
This nigga is
That's
funny.
fine. It's okay. The spoilers are fine.
They don't spoil. Can't one of they was spoiled. Blerd Cartel here, based by the K, AK was AK. Been a lot of hoopla and hysteria, a lot of hateration on the social media accounts about Gear 5. Did it live up to the hype? Does it live up to Super Saiyan 1? Does it live up to Ultra Instinct? Does it even live up to Baryon mode? So I mean, this is episode 1072 and 1073 of One Piece. Um, so yeah, you got Holly Sensei and Monkey D Sensei. I mean,
Yep. What's going on? You know, it's a
Sunday Fun Day, Watson, the road to 1K.
What's up, guys? Just getting over that little hunch a little bit now. I'm starting to have some followers stick.
And Nika D Moonbeam.
Gang, gang.
I didn't name myself under the One Piece Negro, but maybe I should have.
Right? Would have been appropriate.
So 1072, the initial episode, the initial transformation. I think it transformed like 15 minutes in. There's some type of nice speeches going on about from the government, I believe, right? And then, yeah, so he went into, I guess, Looney Tunes mode and just he went into Joy Boy Gear 5, and it was treating Kaido like, you know, I can just do whatever the fuck I want. So is it? What was y'all initial impression of that episode? Not comparing to any other transformation, just like it finally came out. Is it a year later from the manga releasing? Like, what was y'all take on that? How they animated it? They talking about they'll get Warner Brothers to come in and do some stuff. I mean,
Well, I can go first. I enjoyed it. I like the build up, you know, like the episode starts where the previous episode prior to it ends and starts where Luffy's out of here. You know what I mean? Like he's laid out, hollow eyes, everything, and then the heartbeat starts and this pounding, and the soundtrack and how they did that, in my opinion, was really good. It did a good build up. And then while you're hearing this and you hear Zanisha, the big elephant, saying, I hear something, do you hear that? And stuff. And so it's like slowly building up. And then you hear the five elders of the government, they're sitting there talking and they're starting to like slowly explain stuff. And you're like, okay, what is this? What is this? And then so when he finally starts to wake up, I was just like, this is fire. Like, I started my One Piece journey 9 months ago, and I've just like been binging like an insane person. And these episodes, Wano has not disappointed, but these episodes feel like a full circle moment for Luffy, in my opinion. Like when I think about how it would have been growing up watching someone as goofy as Luffy, I feel like I could have gotten the Toon type of vibe from him because he is one of the more goofy main characters. And so I think that they did a good job at showcasing that, and this fits his character, in my opinion.
Listen, as the One Piece stan that I am, and that everybody knows that I am, you know, I don't call it Goat Piece for nothing. You know what I mean? I already knew, like, I'm going to keep it a bean because I could be objective. I already knew how it happened in the manga was going to be way better than it being animated, because the manga is just always going to be better than the animation. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I just want to say this before I go into anything else. Comparing it to Super Saiyan, the first transformation, Ultra Instinct, we got to stop that. Like, just cut it out. Like, I mean, Luffy is my guy. I mean, he is goated, but like Goku is Goku. You know what I mean? There's no other transformation that's going to happen in anime that's going to surpass Super Saiyan. It's not.
The grandfather is shown in for a reason.
It's not going to happen. Like, you know what I mean? Even when we see Ichigo get his, you know, his horn of salvation when he releases True Bankai, that's not even going to be nowhere near, Goku. So let's just cut the crap. But as far as the episode go and everything, I mean, I enjoyed it for what it was. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be this whole grandiose thing. Like, because you only could do but so much. Like, but they did it the way it was supposed to be done, in my opinion. Like, they did it the way it was supposed to be done. The animation was crisp. It was cool. We see the Toon Force thing. We could cut that out too. It's just all it is just Luffy's imagination. That's it. That's all it is. It's not Toon Force, and also everything just gets turned into rubber after he, releases the Gear 5. But it's not Toon Force, so he's not up there with Bugs Bunny, Mickey Mouse, or whoever your Toon Force elites are. He's not that. But Gear 5 is solid.
I have a quick question for you. Was the manga like when he was transforming? Was it different, or the build-up was just better in the manga compared to the anime, or was it just straight up different?
The build-up was different.
Okay.
It was the build-up to it then, like, cause like they kind of captured some of it with the 5 elders talking, and then Zunisha telling Momonosuke that Joy Boy is here. They captured that, but it was a lot more into it in the manga. Because you only got 23, 24 minutes of worth of animation that you could do within, in the manga. You could fit whatever you want in the page. So it was just a little bit more build up in the manga that made it better.
Okay.
Watson, you saw 1072. Did you?
I thought it was an
the
okay
animation, the fight, the Luffy just grabbing Kaido out the fucking building, just like
that shit was
nice
fire.
house, nigga.
I thought the display of Gear 5 was amazing. When it came to how it came about, I didn't like, because somebody made a point when I had posted about it, but it seemed like it was kind of a plot, because he was dead at that point, and all of a sudden now these powers are with Gear 5 all of a sudden. But when somebody had put it to me like, well, that's kind of like how a lot of people's transformations work. I was like, that's true. But like I said, what I saw when it came to what he can do, I thought was amazing. I just thought how it came about, it was okay.
Well, when I looked at it, because I've been binging it, so I've been like, I haven't had breaks in between and been watching it over the years. You see all these different little moments that are hinting to it, like the smoke coming out of him and stuff like that. Like, you see those moments, and I think because of how they do transformations and the awakening and stuff like that, I think this was just his form of an awakening. And in a lot of, just like whoever you were talking to said, in a lot of animation, they have to be pushed to the brink. They literally have to be like on the verge of death lots of times to be able to make such a dramatic transformation. So I don't necessarily agree with the fact that it came out of nowhere. But I also look at it like how you look at stuff like characters like Kaido and Madara. Like, you kind of have to pull something out of your ass to beat characters that are this OP. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we see that with Ichigo, with Aizen and stuff like that. Like, it was almost like they made a character like Kaido, and Kaido has clearly proven that he's one of the strongest, if not the strongest person in One Piece up to that point. Right. He is literally trying to die. He's trying to find someone that can give him the perfect death. And so at that point, Luffy has had all these moments where he just missed the mark. You know what I mean? Like, he needed help, or he needed someone else on the team to help him out and stuff like that. So I thought that it made perfect sense to kind of go into something as extreme as this, like, Looney Tune type feel, because it needed to be somewhat outlandish in order to beat a literal dragon. Like,
well, my question with 1072 is like him going muscle man and swinging Kaido around, punching him up, and just doing all the extra wonky shit. Just like, and then you see like a lot of still frame. You see like Luffy's when he turns black and red, you see his like inner body and stuff like that. Just like does it have any? Does it have anything that will rank above the manga? Just like you can see like the inner workings of what's going on with Gear 5 and just like him always smiling and this animation of what he's doing and then the Looney Tunes face, his eyes literally just going all the way out here and even bending the ground to his will to block one of Kaido's blasts. It's just like did you get like some type of satisfaction with the animation?
I'm gonna be honest, yeah, because like seeing it, even though I said manga is better than anime, and I do stand by that, but seeing it animated, definitely, it does give you some sense of satisfaction. I mean, you see the color, the black and red, that's the color of the Supreme King, the hockey. I mean, you see how that works. You see everything that you saw on this page come to life. I mean, and that shit is fire. Like, I mean, and one thing I also want to say, I've seen a lot of people, like Watson just said, like, almost every anime protagonist has some type of plot-induced transformation that's gonna come, whether it's Naruto, Ichigo, Luffy, Natsu, Goku. Like, I mean, everybody has. I mean, like Kaido, literally, like Ebony was just saying. I mean, the man been trying to kill himself. He jumped. Your first introduction to Kaido was jumping out of the sky to kill himself. Yeah. I mean, like, and he said numerous times he felt like the only person that can kill him is Joy Boy. I mean, and we knew that Luffy was going to be Joy Boy way before he even got the Wano. Like, way before he even got the Wano. Like, Shanks literally went to the world government to tell them, like, yo, y'all know what's about to happen once he really awakened his fruit. Like, I mean, that's why, when he first ate the John, Shanks was like, hey, yo, why you think Shanks had the fruit in the first place?
I thought he had it for some trade off of some sort, but then I saw a post on there that made it seem like he did that on purpose to Luffy.
But
the government said that they had been trying. I thought it was interesting that when they're having this speech, they say that they had been trying to get the fruit forever, and that it was almost like the fruit was evading them, like it was deliberately trying to get away from them because it was trying to make its way back to the future Joy Boy and stuff. And so I think that all of that was good with the animation. I really thought it was crispy. The music change, like when you talk about being able to see something come off the page and be animated, like they made our typical like One Piece song that like we hear throughout the anime, and they made it a little bit more upbeat and funky, and you hear like the maracas in the back and all of this stuff, and so the buildup is really nice. And I just feel like Luffy is already such a naturally goofy character. It wasn't really until after Ace died that I feel like he even took a whole lot of fights genuinely like seriously and stuff. Like he enjoys fighting and stuff like that. And so to be able to see him in this like unrestricted form and seeing the rubber, like, you were talking about not feeling like it was Toon Force, but I don't know. And that it was just his imagination. That was a question that I was wondering as I was watching it. That was like what we were seeing when, Kaido's eyes are popping out of his head and the world is transforming and all of these other like different Looney Tune type things. Are we seeing it from Luffy's perspective and that's just how he sees the world when he's in Gear 5? Or is he genuinely changing reality around him? Because if that's the case, then that is the definition of Toon Force.
So I wouldn't say it's not like the mask or just like even Bugs Bunny or even just like anything of that nature. It's just like, it just.
But why would you say it's not like that?
Because because when he's walking around or just like he's exerting his rubber abilities to the properties around us. Him bounce out the ground, him grabbing Kaido and just doing whatever he wants with him, or just ripping up the grounds and stuff like that. That's just his extension of his power. You know what I mean? So just like with just 2 Force, you could break the fourth wall. You could just like literally do whatever you want. You're like Freakazoid. You could do whatever you want.
But I feel like he showcased that a little bit. Like, I get the rubber aspect, but even like we said, Kaido's eyes popping out, or when he after something happens, he's like shooting the smoke out of his mouth, and so it's affecting other people that have devil fruit. And you know, there's a moment where Kaido even says, "This is like a scene out of a comic strip." And I thought, in a way, that was breaking the fourth wall, because up until then, in One Piece, I had never seen anybody reading a comic strip or mentioning one. So it was almost like he was acknowledging that it's what we see in the real world.
But yeah, for fourth wall, yeah,
I feel like
engage the argument like Deadpool or anything like that. But
I feel like it's more because like obviously, yeah, his devil fruit has awakened. So it's more like he got, I want to say Toon Force. It's like probably like a little minor reality warping type of, you know what I mean? Like,
reality warping.
You know what I mean?
So it's not.
No, I do believe that, because you can see it all over, and other people were acknowledging it. So it wasn't just something that like he was experiencing; other people were witnessing it themselves.
Right.
So this isn't just a concept of Toon Force. He actually has these abilities.
Well, it's a time limit, but we could get into that. Like, well, with 1073, you see the further fight go on, and Luffy actually get tired and actually go into like an age state where he's just gray and he just loses
the color left his body, like not just his body, but his clothes were faded and stuff. But I think that is a perfect sign of what we see in cartoons when they start to shut down and they get tired. Like they start to their color starts to wash out. So it's like I could understand if he got old and stuff like that and tired, but even his clothing and stuff, his animation itself altered as well.
Allegedly, that wasn't in the manga, like that part. They just
some stuff they just add to the end, like recently with Bleach, with Shinji releasing his Bankai. That didn't happen in the manga at all. You only learn about Shinji's Bankai in the light novel. You don't you never see that in the 1,000-Year Blood Book. But they added it to the animation. So I mean that just happened, where they add certain things, you know, that you wouldn't add in the manga to the animation.
Luffy jump roped with Kaido.
Right.
He pulled that, he stretched that nigga out and jump roped. And I was just like, if you're not entertained, like no matter if I think it definitely changed the tone of the fight. But if you can't watch those 2 episodes and be entertained, you need to re-tap into your childhood. Because I thought that it was, especially for people that watched it as a kid, like I feel like that has to be so fun to watch. Because it was fun for me, and I've only been watching it for 9 months. And originally I was like, Luffy is too damn goofy and all this stuff, because I like darker anime, so I like more serious tones. And now it's like this. So I feel like now we're fully seeing his true self, and I really enjoy that. Like Wano has really, after Water 7, I've not been disappointed at all. But this takes the cake for me. And then, you know, with just like I said, the tone of it, the music change, the way the animation is driven, it just makes sense. But I do have a question. Since you read the manga and everybody else has been watching it, you know, the narrator in the show specifically says when they're introducing Gear 5, they say this is his peak. Mm-hmm. And so I'm wondering, like, are they trying to tell us that we're not going to get a transformation past Gear 5? Are they telling us that, like, we're getting close to the One Piece, like this is going to be over? Like, do you think
This Gear 5 is probably I believe it's going to be Luffy's like final transformation. That is like the peak of his devil fruit. Because like right now, there, I feel like what's going on in the manga right now is like everything is coming to a head. Like everything, like everything with the poneglyphs. I mean, the government, the elders, all the the warlords, everything. Like everything is like, and it is about to end soon. Like I know Oda said he probably gonna do maybe probably another year, a couple more years, but it's, he know how to drag it out. But it's coming to an end soon, though. You know.
Okay.
Gear 5 is no. I don't believe it's gonna be a Gear 6, Gear 7, like Gear 5. I mean,
unless they do another time skip.
Cause like Joy Boy, like back in the day, like he was, you know what I mean? He was a god. You know what I mean? That's basically, he got like godly powers. That's why he can.
Yeah, Sun God Nika, hence my name.
I still find it weird that the element of rubber is a power, and then even watching him do what he does, I'm just like,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, it takes a good protagonist to make the use of his abilities beyond the norm.
Yeah, because if this was in My Hero, that like this would be such a we'd be like, this is a lame quirk. But in One Piece, it's like a whole main character, and that's been going for like 25 years. So
with 1073, when Luffy got his Gear 5 back, I guess like what was with the whole fight after that, just like him just picking up the terrain and just like punching Kaido, like whole bringing himself off the mountain and punching Kaido's face in, like his fist went through into Kaido's head and then knocking him out at the same time, getting in Kaido's stomach and expanding.
He pushed through his eyes.
He grabbed the eyes from the inside and then launched himself outward. It was just like, it was a little much. That was ultimate trolling at that point.
The landscape again?
Yeah, he did it again.
He did it again? Damn.
You said, are we afraid of spoilers?
Yeah.
Now that I'm fully caught up with Wano, I think as long as it's not going to tell me
one thing about Gear 5, that's it.
Okay, I can take it.
Let me know, because I'm gonna watch it regardless.
Yeah, I can take it now that I'm caught up.
Gear 5, you'll see after the arc that he can go Gear 5 like that. Like I mean, like he could just do Gear 1.
Like Xeno Goku can go Super Saiyan 4 without hesitation.
Yeah,
I like that.
Instantly go into Gear 5.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too.
All that yelling and whatever huffing and constipation you got to do to get to the next transformation. That's tiring. Just turn it on.
Well, and I think that's one of the reasons why Super Saiyan it like sits at a different level. Like back then in animation, we hadn't really seen major transformations like that, and so the buildup was there. But like in 2023, first off, the patience and the ability for us to sit and wait for stuff is just not there anymore. We always want that quick fix, and so that's why a lot of people drop anime. That's a major reason why a lot of people won't start One Piece, because they have so much to get through before it gets quote unquote good. Like anytime you Google something and say, when does the show start getting good, and they say episode 384, like that instantly is like a turnoff for most people. So I think being able to transform into stuff like that at a will and not really having I don't know if he officially has a time limit, because when he broke down and was like he was tired, I really thought he was about to say he was hungry, because typically at some point he starts to lose his abilities and he's like, I need to eat. And so I thought that that's what he was going to say. I didn't expect him to say that he was tired, but the man has been fighting for like a whole night and a half for real, before even fighting the big bad. So it's realistic for me that he shut down like that.
Right.
but his will refuses to let him give up because of all the people that he's made promises to, and he wants to see smile. You know.
I would be tired too. Like that man, you know how much fatigue this guy is. Like Kaido literally packed this man up 4 times. Like 4 times, Kaido made this man unconscious. You know what I mean? We like 2 of them times.
Kaido's a menace.
Like
I've not seen a villain like Kaido since Madara, probably, if I'm being honest. To where you're really wondering, like, how the hell are they going to beat him at this point?
And that's exactly what when I first like when I was reading the manga and I first seen Kaido, like his first introduction, I said to myself, I'm like, what the hell is Luffy gonna do to beat this nigga? You know what I mean? Because he literally just jumped from fucking Sky Island and killed himself. And he did not die.
And just got back up and then proceeded to like beat the shit out of some of the new generation in the process, and was
just
like
crashed all of them.
Right.
And I'm like, what the hell is Luffy going? Man, but Joy Boy.
Yeah.
Well, Gear 4 was a nice progression as to it showed some promise into what he's into now. When he got into that other dimension fighting that other guy that had like similar powers.
Katakuri.
I thought that kind of showed some promise, but still, like when I saw Kaido on that introduction, I was like, there's no way he's gonna beat this guy. There's no
Even
way.
with Gear 4, when he turns into Snake Man, you can see like the smoke around him is kind of the same thing that he has with the Gear 5.
Yeah, that's why I said there's in majority of his transformations over time, or even when he gets beat, like when he gets knocked out or something, you see the smoke come out of him. And so when he started his transformation into Gear 5 and 1072, and you see it again, because actually at one point he even says something about it. He's like, no soul or whatever, come back in, no energy, and then he pushes it back into his mouth so he can keep fighting. So I feel like he always kind of knew that there was something up. I think you also see that when they're in Sabaody. Yep. During a fight, you see that. Damn, I am good for someone that literally is on.
I'm taking her to One Piece trivia. Answering no questions. So, how y'all feel about the Caribbean backstory, African lore of Joy Boy and how it translates to Luffy and the Fruity Aid and just like the Jungle Liberation and just like him always smiling in the Gear 5 state. Like, when y'all learned about that, or is it cap, or just like people reaching? I don't know. So I thought it was pretty cool, just like all the references to it.
I'm going to be the first one to say, because I'd rather watch it than hear a story about it, probably couldn't give you much insight on that. I did hear about the liberation part, but I didn't make a connection, to be honest, because I was too eager to see what his powers could be.
Yeah, I got the liberation. I haven't done a deep dive into Joy Boy's backstory. So I don't really know much. I'm not opposed to looking into it, but I'm typically a person that likes to see things animated and then go back and research or read the manga and stuff. But and I don't know much about the sun god Nika, but clearly that's who Joy Boy is, and so we know that means that he's goated as hell. The fact that the government has been trying to get rid of Luffy since he ate the fruit basically shows how important this character is and the backstory is, but I don't really know much about it, so I can't really speak on it. I think that's more of Monkey D Sensei's jam.
How elite is the fruit though? Because it's not the most powerful one. It's like what, top 10? It's top 5?
What, Luffy's fruit?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Because I've heard there are stronger ones.
I would argue that it is the strongest.
because it's based off of his imagination
I mean,
purely. So there's no limits to your
like
imagination.
he literally transforming it into, you know, he getting godly based powers. Like it had to be. Like, but as far as like Joy Boy's backstory, like you just hear like throughout the series, like you hear, you know, the name, the title of Joy Boy. I mean, but you don't really get like too much backstory about who Joy Boy. You know what I mean? How it all started and all that stuff. Like you don't really get too much of that. Like, I
Do
mean,
you get that in the manga later on down the line, or is that just something you research and like Oda
I
put
feel
it
like
out there at some point?
where we at now in the manga, you probably learn some more about, you know, Joy Boy's history. You know what I mean? But like it's not really too much information out there. You know what I mean?
Do you think that that's something that he's gonna like tap into, or
Yeah, you
or
gonna
do
have
you think that's? Well, I was just wondering because some shows they leave it kind of up to interpretation, and they kind of let the fan theories fly, and sometimes they leave them there. Every now and again, they'll come back 10 years later and be like, "That was the right fan theory. You got it."
knowing Oda, he gonna give us something. Cause like we seen, you know, he gave us a little backstory about, you know, Odin, how he was rocking with Roger. We seen Whitebeard when he was younger. I mean, Garth when he was younger. So like, you know, eventually he'll probably do a little backstory about, you know, how the title of Joy Boy was placed upon the, you know, the sun god. I mean,
So I guess maybe the last thing, because there's only two characters. Well, don't. The one part I did like 1073 when Luffy's face fell off literally when he was running down the little hill. He had to put his face back on his facial features. I mean, I thought that was hilarious.
He was tripping all over the place. Oh, it was funny when Kaido shot him with that blast, and he like was charged to death, and then he just shook it off and was like, "Unforgivable." I was like, "That's your response, unforgivable."
So with Gear 5 being a transformation, with One Piece fans is overhyping it, I guess. Oh, it broke the internet and all that other stuff. I personally think it broke the internet. It's just like, you know, shut down Crunchyroll a little bit and nobody missed a beat. That's just not
Well, it shut down Crunchyroll for a couple of hours though, but like I just feel like there's certain transformations that just based off of the fan base and even people that aren't major fan, even people that don't fully watch Dragon Ball and stuff like that, they know about Goku, they know about the Super Saiyan transformation and stuff. So like when we got UI, even people that weren't watching Super watched that episode. You know what I mean? But that's not always the case with One Piece. Like there's like the biggest love-hate relationship that anime fans have with One Piece. It's probably the biggest in the big three.
The only thing with UI wasn't no manga release really like that. It was just like it's like anime only type shit. So it's just like, oh, this is like groundbreaking. It's like Jiren was something else.
Yeah. I also think the fans ruined the build up for Gear 5 because the visuals for Gear 5, the discussions about Gear 5 have been out for over a year. Right. You know what I mean? So it's like I knew what Gear 5 was going to look like and stuff even before I started my One Piece journey. So I already knew that he was going to get to Gear 5 and stuff like that. So there were certain aspects that I was like, well, I know he's going to get here. So like even when I was watching the Wano fight, I was like, well, it can't end here because the man ain't turned Gear 5 yet. You know what I mean? So I think that played a part in the build-up aspect of things. But delivery-wise, I think people were expecting... I don't know if people were expecting something like grittier to what we've had in this fight in Wano so far with Kaido, and then it just kind of flipped the script and gave you something really somewhat comedic and visually just it's literally an acid trip in anime. That's what these 2 episodes were. A really crazy like acid trip that I was okay to take that ride for, because it's Luffy. Like, I don't think that scenario would have worked with any other
but
like
what
big 3
anime?
MC.
What transformation did it live up to?
I mean, I just feel I think like just take it for what it is.
For what it
like,
is.
I agree. Like the build up to it, like it was. We knew Luffy was gonna be Joy Boy. We knew about Gear 5 a whole year before this shit even came out. Like, I mean, and even in the manga, once he transformed, it was like a comedic thing. I mean, it was everything you saw him do animated. He did it in the manga. You know what I mean? So I don't know if people was expecting it to be on some like how Goku first transformed, or even for it to be like Ultra Instinct. It wasn't going to be like that at all. Like, you know what I mean? It was not going to be like that. Like, I feel like if, you know, it's one of those things that it's just like a standalone thing. I don't really think you can compare it to anything else. Just like with Goku, you can't compare Super Saiyan transformation to any other transformation. Like, it's just, I mean, it's, you know, even with Naruto when he did the burn mode thing, like that thing was underwhelming as hell. Like, for me, like, I mean, yeah, it was, you know, you happy to see Naruto get a power up because he was severely, you know, what's the word I'm looking for?
Lackluster.
Nerfed.
Well, they just held back. They didn't give him
He's been
anything.
severely nerfed in Boruto, so it's like, all right, we happy to see him, you know, get some type of level of power, then it get taken right from him. Kurama dies, you know what I mean? And then, you know, but like, I feel like all these things, transformations, they just standalone transformations. So, like, it's not, you know, the only other transformation I feel like you probably could, you know, put on the level of Goku would probably be when we finally seen Yusuke turn into a demon. Like when he, the Mazaku thing, that there, you know what I mean, was crazy. But like Gear 5 is no, it's just a standalone. Just leave it where it's at. Don't try to do nothing else.
Well, I think you also got to think about the difference in the anime. Like, it's hard to compare something with, like, when you think about all of these MCs, like, Luffy is naturally kind of goofy and laid back. Like, we constantly talk about, like, is Luffy dumb or does he just not give a damn? And it's both. And so I think his transformations showcase that. And in this particular transformation, you see that on like an extreme level. And so it was impactful because it was impactful for the story. It was impactful because it really, I love when something kind of changes the tone of an anime briefly or even completely. Like I still stand by the fact that, like, I think that's one of the reasons why Berserk was so interesting, because like those last 2 episodes just completely changed the tone of like the whole show, just by like it getting dark and demonic and all that stuff like that. And I feel like that's what this particular transformation did. You know, any other time that we've seen Luffy transform, I feel like it was somewhat lackluster compared to this transformation because it was so dramatic.
I feel like Gear 3 was, I mean,
It was great.
Huge transformation.
that was one of the best ones. Gear 3,
Gear 2.
just like the whole everything surrounding Gear 3 when he finally, I mean, yeah. But Gear 5 it's a standalone, you know. Just leave, don't compare it to nothing else. I mean, comparing it to Goku is that I think that's just like
Wild.
Because you know, it's One Piece, it's Dragon Ball Z. They're literally like the 2 most popular.
Fans are crazy.
You know what I mean, I'm a One Piece stan myself. Like, I mean, but I know for a fact, like, come on, dog, it's Goku. Like, you know what I mean, Luffy don't got no floating the Macy's parade. Goku do. You know?
Right.
Like, come on now. Let's be serious here. Like, you know.
Watson, you got to take for you.
on this recent episode, or just overall?
Overall.
I think it's like I said, it's a solid transformation. I like what the powers can do. I was just very underwhelmed with what it was, and it is a few reasons. Like you guys were discussing when I unfortunately left. Spoilers. I've heard the manga. I've seen some stuff on TikTok, and like we knew it was coming. With something like a Goku transformation, we didn't know that stuff was coming. So I think that was more of the like, oh shit, versus like, oh well, I'm just waiting for this. I just want to see what it looks like. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. I mean, congrats to Luffy finally. But it's just underwhelming. I think I'm going to be more impressed with how it'll end, especially because if it'll end in a few years, we'll see where Luffy is when it comes to the King of the Pirates and like what he can do. I think that'll be pretty cool.
You know, you said something. I think that's why, because Kim said that it got really ridiculous at some point. I think, and then Sensei said that they were doing like major trolling, and I think that was the only way to do something better than, because they had already released the images and stuff like that. People knew about it, but they couldn't change how Gear 5 worked because then it would go against the manga. So I think that's why the episode was just as ridiculous as it was, because they had to like up the game. Like they had to make it stand out aside from what we already knew without completely changing how Gear 5 like comes across. You know what I mean? Like they couldn't make it grittier or edgier or whatever because it would change the concept of Gear 5. So then they're like, okay, well they think it's Toon Force and they think it's that. We're gonna turn up the Toon Force to 1,000, and now we're in Looney Tune land.
Yeah, if you thought Gear 5 was about to give him some like super killer instinct or like some bloodlust or something, I don't know what you.
Well,
You're definitely mistaken.
Well, it wasn't that. I mean, from watching Luffy fight in general, the dude is crazy strong naturally. So half the time he was just beating dudes just for the fun of it, and he just kept it moving. It was like, okay, I like that. You know your job. So and he stuck to it. But the the whole thing of Goku going Super Saiyan was a huge thing, and it was and it came to that, like I was saying before, plot armor spot where he had no other reason but to level up, and it happened. It took so long to get there, but when it happened immediately, and it was like, oh shit. Nobody knew about it, and it was like one of the greatest things we ever saw, according to anime at the time. So, but now times have changed. So something like this, in my opinion, I thought was more of a.
And then you gotta look at everything that was surrounding when Goku went Super Saiyan. Just they was on Namek. They was fighting at that time the strongest antagonist they ever faced in the series. I mean, his best friend since he was a child literally just died in front of him. I mean, and we all know that Saiyans, their power can be heightened because of their emotions. I mean, and his homie just died. He just seen that man die, and you see that the explosion of emotions made him turn Super Saiyan. There was no explosion of emotion.
Yeah, that's what it
was already. I mean, he was knocked the fuck out. Kaido had this man unconscious. His eyes was. He had eyeballs. It was just hollow.
Hollow.
Yeah, that's that. Because I was gonna say, because he had when Goku was training Gohan, he told him to level up. There's a need for it, and I think
for anger and pain and all of those different things. Yeah, and that's something that I've said before about One Piece as a whole. Like when I was watching it, for the longest, I just felt like I didn't have this deep emotional connection to the character because of those reasons. You know, Luffy just be knocking people out and going on about his business. Like we didn't have that foundation that you would have in like Dragon Ball, where you have watched Krillin and Goku since Dragon Ball. You've seen Bulma since Dragon Ball, and Shotsu and Tien and all of these people that you've not only built a connection with, but you've watched Goku build this connection with. And so the stakes always felt higher to me. And because you literally would watch people like get off and go to heaven and all that stuff like that. Like the stakes always felt higher in Dragon Ball Z than it did in One Piece up until recently, where you really started seeing people like, even up until until you get to Ace, you don't see anybody really get off. And then after that, for a while, you didn't really see anybody that was worth caring about die.
Now the one person that I actually took very like that I took seriously was Zoro. Zoro's my favorite character on there. I like his discipline and determination. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
that's why he's one of my favorite characters as well.
Yeah,
the same thing.
I like him a lot.
He's a Zoro Negro.
It's a Zoro that ball. I mean,
Lord.
I still
one day
why he got his eye closed. I don't understand that.
One day we'll see Rock Lee get the same stuff.
Listen, Zoro, when that eye finally opened,
I saw it.
That might break the internet more than Gear 5. I'm telling you.
It probably would.
It'll be a Sharingan.
Okay, I'm glad you just said that, Chris, because I have a question for y'all. So I was just literally in a debate with someone like 2 nights ago because they were asking me who my favorite One Piece characters were. And, you know, I listed, you know, Zoro and some other people and stuff. And then I came up with Luffy, and they were like, how can you have Luffy so low when he's the main character? Like the whole show is about him and yada, yada, yada. But I'm like, do you know how many people would like lose it if Zoro died over like Luffy, in my opinion? And like, is that strange? Was I tripping? Am I looking at this wrong? I
thought Zoro could be the main character, even Sanji.
I mean, I don't think that's like that. To me, that's crazy because it's not really. I don't think it's uncommon for people like the main antagonist of the show to not be your number one. Like obviously, I'm a Naruto fan. I'm a big Naruto fan, but my favorite character of the series is not Naruto. It's Kakashi.
Right.
Like, I mean, just like, well, One Piece, it is Luffy. I mean, but I have other like Bleach. I mean, Ichigo's. I mean, I love Ichigo, but that's not he not my number one. Like, right. I mean, it's like I can name a bunch of other shows, but I just don't think it's uncommon for, you know, the main character to always be somebody's number one. Like, I mean, especially if the show has good side characters. If the show has good side characters, like take for example, Jujutsu Kaisen. Who out here saying that Yuji is their favorite character?
Exactly.
Right. Absolutely no one.
I mean, just like Attack on Titan. More people like Levi than they like Aaron.
Yeah.
You know? So,
don't get me started on Escanor Negro.
Sasuke and Zoro were my first 2 favorite side characters.
Man, Vegeta is always like top tier side character. Like, and that's what tricked me out. I was like, y'all One Piece Negroes is crazy. I was like, I'm a One Piece Negro, but I'm not like I love Luffy, and Luffy is still in my top 5 favorite characters. In One Piece, he's just not number 1.
With side characters, they usually get the leniency to do whatever, as opposed to the main character that you said had to follow a script of being an anime protagonist. I mean, now it's more loosened up now. I think Hunter x Hunter is the main reason of that, changing the dynamics of Gong and Killua. I mean, that was one of the first to do so. But, you know, I think Yusuke is one of the first to not follow that trope. But of doing that. So I mean, Cool Bar was there to be there, ride or die, and then Yusuke didn't really follow no rules. Of a typical protagonist, but you know, that's One Piece. That's Gear 5. It didn't. Well, everybody gave their reasons why. Niggas gonna keep watching it. So.
Oh yeah.
If you had to rate it out of 10, what would you rate it, Cam? Like the 2 episodes together.
That's a 7. It was what it was. You know, I wasn't anticipating it for a year like, you know, a typical One Piece fan, but you know, it did what it needed to do animation wise to show the extent of his abilities. Like,
that's what I think.
Fully like yo, this is how crazy he really is. It's like, I know the details ain't all in there, like when you jump roping Kaido and all that other stuff, but it's the animation, so you're not gonna really get the illustrated properties that you're gonna get from a manga. So I mean, translate it over. That's a little bit too much money to put into that. Like, you take pain destroying the village, it looked better in the manga than it did in the episode, but you know, the more destructive effects of it was great in the episode.
Shout out to Pain.
No, shout out to Pain.
He was just misunderstood. He just wanted the world to know pain. That's all. I mean, he wanted the world to experience what he experienced. I mean, everything was taken from me, so I'm gonna take everything from you.
Oh, yeah, you're talking about bum-ass moderate.
Yeah, I just want to know, have any of y'all been watching Bleach?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I do need to watch yesterday's episode.
I'm still trying to figure out how this man, what's Yawat? How do you say his name?
Yawat.
Yawat?
Yeah.
Is that really how you pronounce it?
Mm-hmm.
Yawat.
Yep.
How he is. Him and the homeboy is one and the same. I'm like, how did that work? Or where did you go? His right hand,
his general.
Yeah,
like
but
his lead general. He like just disappeared, and then he was like, "We're the same."
Wait, what are you doing? How'd you do that? Because that's what he did in the fight against what's his name, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, you talking about the boy with the glasses?
No, the blonde guy. That's like his right hand man.
Drew Brown.
Pretty boy.
Yeah, they thought that he was gonna be the successor because of that reason, and then he ended up choosing Uryu.
But they interchange places. They've never seen in the same place at once, and I didn't figure that out until
I never noticed that they were never in the same place at once.
And I was like, so wait, who is this guy to you? So that was one thing. But other than that, Ichigo is on a whole other level. He's a Super Saiyan. What you call it?
Well, y'all know Ichigo.
Ichigo is a Super Saiyan. He's a Hollow. He's a Yonko. Whatever. You know, whatever.
He's a Chimera. He got it all.
I mean,
that's
whatever
what
transformation Ichigo need, he gonna get it.
See now he's the real Gear 5. Anything he imagines that he needs to be in the moment.
It'd be nice to see that in choreography of a fight of him going through all those transformations.
Well, did you see that they said that not the upcoming episode, but they are gonna get Ufotable to help them animate some of the upcoming episodes, like the upcoming fights, which, you know, Ufotable is known for the Fate series, so this shit, like you put Mappa and Ufotable together, that's crazy to me. That shit's gonna be crispy.
They trying to break something.
Yeah, they're trying to break something.
The Fate series got the best fight animation, like hands down.
Ever. I don't care what nobody say. It is, and it's just beautifully done. Like, animation wise, the colors are beautiful. The fight choreography, like, you cannot find a best animation list that does not have at least 2 of the Fate series on it. Damn, mine's got a better.
I still like from the last episode of Bleach when Ichigo he went straight down instead of running down the stairs. He just went straight down to get himself to.
Niggas was under attack. It's like
I was wondering if he was gonna do that at first, or was he just gonna start running the stairs like Goku was doing Snake Way? But then he was like, "Oh, people need help," and he just like, "Oh, all right, gotta go."
Ichigo ain't got time for that.
Right, that man turned into a little jet cannon. He was just like, boom.
Ichigo had to dick it at that point. So what we got so far? Halia Sensei, what you got for what it sound like this Thursday?
I mean, this Thursday we support. We got Roxy Hayes coming through. I mean, we'll talk to Roxy. Also, welcome Halia back as well. You know what I mean? We're gonna talk about topic for that is which video game would make the best anime. You know what I mean?
So many choices.
Talk about that.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, I already made the post up, so I mean, we just gonna go with the choices I gave you, and then you gotta pick from that. You know what I mean, but I'll probably make another one before.
Is that the post that has Zelda on it?
Yeah, Zelda, Metroid, who else? Metal Gear, Jet Set Radio, Bloodborne, and Chrono Trigger.
I'd like to see Bloodborne.
Chrono Trigger would probably be the most popular vote, if anything. Watson will be on Roundtable. Moonbeam will be on Roundtable. Wife Reviews. Check them out. About a new episode, Black Representation in Media. They reviewed Burning Rubber, short on HBO Max. Shout out to New York niggas that was on there.
Hey, one more thing, Cam.
Got the new Facebook page too.
Excuse my interruption. The new Bruce Lee animation. I don't know if that's just something.
Yeah, Bruce Lee getting a little anime coming out.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a cartoon. What I heard it.
Bruce Lee for the anime? Let's go.
Yeah.
That should be really good.
It's supposed to be about
we haven't seen a lot of good hand-to-hand combat anime in a while. Like,
I hope they give me
really good.
The North Star vibe.
Roundtable we're gonna do the best rivalries in anime. So try and get some new joints in there. Not
as long as Yugi and Kaiba is number one, I'm good.
Okay.
That's the pettiest one, but
man,
you got a Naruto.
L and Light, they would be on there.
Yeah, L and Light.
But my shit just got all that stuff. Follow Wife Reviews on Facebook. YouTube page coming through. What it sound like also Facebook page and YouTube and then
Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, follow us.
They got everything. Shit. Coke matches tomorrow. You know what it is, Monday.
Oh shit.
Definitely. I got me some characters too. Yeah, we will Coke matches out tomorrow.
We gotta do another Coke match tournament because when I tell you that was the most entertaining thing I had been a part of in a minute. That shit was crazy.
Another one. The urge to jerk off is just undefeated. Nobody can beat it.
Says the news versus the urge to jerk off. That's the match of the century.
No, the trunk space in the phone that was going places. I got the dudes, yes.
Listen, I'm gonna try.
Y'all need a whole Coke match like meme page.
I'm gonna try to get y'all some Coke match characters on some shirts, dog.
That would be.
I'm trying to get somebody right now as we speak. But I am the creator of the name Static Social, so I'm trying to get somebody.
Yeah.
To draw Chief Keef as Static Shock.
Blowing up New Jersey.
Put it on the shirt.
What was the one with Frieza? I loved that one. Black Frieza.
Black Frieza.
Yeah, nigga Frieza.
Nigga Frieza.
Nigga Frieza. That would go crazy at BlerdCon, man. You can just sell that as merch. Go on and create that up and sell that at your booth.
All I get when slugs fly as a shirt.
Blerd Cartel merch. You know, me and Cam gotta get in the lab. We gotta talk about that off cam. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I got some ideas floating
Hey,
around.
I'll contribute financially because I love me a good ridiculous ass t-shirt.